Legacy Maker, the All Sports Network.
One. Welcome to the one-on-one. When it comes to ratings, man, we number one. I get the truth, then I give them the scoop. If anybody got a question, I give them the proof. Welcome to the one-on-one. When it comes to ratings, man, we number one. I get the truth, then I give them the scoop. If anybody got a question, I give them the proof. Welcome to one-on-one at Legacy Maker Sports Network.
Hello, everybody. It's your man, Darrell Owens, and welcome to another edition of One-on-One here on the Legacy Maker Sports Network. And we're doing another quick ones edition of NFL Power Rankings. We're heading into week 10 of the NFL season, and glad to be with you here again today for another one. We're heading into week 10. Tonight, we got Ravens versus Dolphins from Miami. The Ravens coming into this one, second best team in the AFC at 6-2. The Dolphins going on the opposite end of the spectrum at 2-7. But nevertheless, I don't expect them to play less hard tonight because they're struggling this season. But they did get a dub last week. See what they can do this week against the Ravens. Should be a fun one tonight. All the Thursday night games have been fire. So Ravens, Dolphins, you've got to continue to live up to that tradition. Now, once again, we love you guys here on the Legacy Maker Sports Network and, of course, on one-on-ones. If you get an opportunity, make sure you check out the Legacy Maker Sports Network. Make sure you look at us and see what we got going on in the Legacy Maker Sports Network. Check out all our social media platforms, like what we're trying to do, man. We're trying to grow, and we're trying to bring you media in a different form and just have fun bringing you the news. All right, let's go ahead and get this bad boy started. I'm not going to hold you long today, but I want to go ahead and give you this top 10 before the week 10 starts. So let's go ahead and get started, because you know what we get started with? The bottom. All right, sitting at the bottom this week, at the very bottom, and they've been at the bottom for a while now, the only winless team in the NFL, the Detroit Lions. Now, Detroit did not play this week, so, you know, there's nowhere for them to really go but down in this situation. So they stay at number 32. They're 0-8. This week, the Lions have a tough task playing the Steelers team who's starting to click a little bit. It's been back and forth for the Steelers. So the Lions hopefully will finally get a W, maybe this week, maybe. But I'm not going to hold my breath, man. I just want to see Dan Campbell get a win. But Pittsburgh has been playing better football, so we'll see what happens there. At number 31, the Houston Texans, 8 straight losses. They just can't get it going. They got Tyrod Taylor back last week. It just wasn't enough. The Dolphins came to play last week, getting that dub because they were also on a 7-game losing streak at the time. So both teams were on 7-game losing streaks, trying to get that dub, trying to get back in the win column. The Dolphins happen to be that team. So the Dolphins are our number 30 team, because they were able to pull off the battle of the 7-game losing streaks. Next one, we got the Jets, 2-6. They got them at number 29 here on this power ranking. Now, the Jets came in, last week, very, very positive in my opinion. Yes, they lost 45-30 to the Colts, but I will say I thought that they did a really good job of fighting, never giving up. And I know when people say, "Oh, there's no more victories," but if Mike White didn't go out of that game early, I wouldn't be surprised if the Jets were a little bit more into that contest. And nothing against Josh Johnson, who came in and gave a good run, but it was just too little, too late, and too much Jonathan Taylor on the Colts side. But the Jets team, I like what I'm seeing. They're improving every week. The defense is improving every week. The offense is getting better. They're very young. This is a positive thing for Robert Saleh and the Jets. So we'll see what they do for the rest of the season, see if they can continue to grow. Number 28, the Washington football team. They're at 2-6. They did not play last week, so they actually lost a couple of spots due to some other teams getting some dubs in that process. Number 27, the Jacksonville Jaguars, getting a big win, huge win against the Buffalo Bills. No one saw this coming. I know I didn't see it coming. Jacksonville fans saw it coming. Jacksonville fans saw it coming. But nobody else saw this one coming. I know in our pick 'em, everybody, the whole squad picked the Buffalo Bills. But the Jaguars said, hey, y'all can say whatever you want. We're out here. And they gave a tough, fight. They were in the mix. They battled. They kept it close. And they end up winning that game 9-6. Craziness, right? What a game. But Jacksonville gets the dub. They move to 2-6. Number 26, the Buffalo Bears, the Chicago Bears, 3-6 on the season. And, this Bears team, a lot of people feel like they got robbed on Monday night because, that whole Steelers fiasco with the referees and everybody's, the referees were all about the Steelers that night. But the Bears gave a great effort and a good comeback run in that contest. Just wasn't enough as they end up losing that one 29-27 to the Pittsburgh Steelers. But we got the Bears at 26 on this power ranking. At 25, the Philadelphia Eagles. The Eagles are 3-6 on the season. A tough loss to the Chargers. Very tough loss to the Chargers. But once again, the Eagles were very competitive in this contest. Another team where they've been battling and they've been in the mix. They've been battling the whole time for the majority of the season. They've been in games. They just come out on the losing end on most of them. So they're 3-6 right now. But I do like what I've seen from this Eagles team to a certain extent. Still, now that they've started to run the ball, they're starting to play better football. The coach is finally getting his act together. At number 24, the New York Football Giants, going 3-6 now on the season. And the Giants, a big win, very nice win against the the Las Vegas Raiders. I'm never going to get it right, y'all. I'm always going to call them Oakland. But the Las Vegas Raiders traveled to New York, and the Giants, did their thing. Very tough performance by the Giants. Saquon Barkley-less Giants, and they still were able to go in there and get the dub. They won over the Raiders last week, 23-16. So a nice win for the Giants, a team that could be 4-5. It's just they're one of those toss-up teams. Number 23, the San Francisco 49ers. They are 3-5 on the season. The 49ers lost a tough one to the Cardinals. Cardinals without Kyler Murray, didn't make a difference because the Colt McCoy show was in full effect and the Cardinals looked great. And, no Chase Edmonds. He got injured early in the contest, but it was all Conner. It was the James Conner show. He had 3 touchdowns in that contest. He helped me out big time in fantasy. So thank you, James. Appreciate you. Next one, number 22, the Seahawks. No game last week. They're 3-5. They stay where they are. They had the Packers on Sunday, 4:25 game. Should be a good one. Waiting to see the outcome to see if Aaron will be playing on Sunday. We won't know that till Saturday, so we'll see what happens in that way. But right now, it seems like he will play. There's a small chance that he doesn't, but at the current time, it looks like he will be playing on Sunday. Number 21, the Minnesota Vikings. I tell you what, this Minnesota Vikings team, and we've been saying it all year, it's back and forth. I think they've been in the most overtime games this year out of any team, and I could be wrong on that fact. But they lost a tough one in overtime to the Ravens 34-31. And they're one of those teams that if they win from week to week, you would not be surprised. And if they lose from week to week, you would not be surprised. Whenever there's a Vikings game going on, to me, it's a toss-up. If you had to pick who you think is going to win that game, it's always a toss-up. And so this, Vikings team against the Ravens, I thought they had a shot, and they looked really good early. But in the end, it just wasn't enough. Now, this week, the Vikings play the Chargers, another toss-up game. Like, this thing could go either way. You could literally flip a coin, and you would probably be right on who wins that contest. And that is the bottom here in the power rankings heading into week 10. So there's the bottom. We're heading into week 10, the bottom. There's a couple of teams in there that I feel like they could make some moves and still make a little push before the end of the season. The Eagles are a team I think that could shock a couple of people. I also think, the 49ers, if they can get things clicking, they could shock people. Obviously, the Seahawks with Russell Wilson, the Vikings, pretty much, I'm not going to say the Giants per se because I'm still on the jury's still out. But Eagles, 49ers, Seahawks, and Vikings are teams for me that I think could still surprise us and maybe make a playoff run. Not saying go deep in the playoffs, but just make it to the playoffs. Now, let's go to the outside looking in. Now, on the outside looking in, we've got the Carolina Panthers sitting in at number 20. We got the Indianapolis Colts at 19, the Atlanta Falcons at 18, the Kansas City Chiefs at 17, and the Denver Broncos at 16. Panthers team last week, it was just, it just looked rough all the way around for this Panthers team against the Patriots at home. And Mac Jones, and I know I've said it a couple of times on the show, but Mac Jones to me right now is the rookie of the year. And I don't care, at least in my eyes, I think, what he's done so far and his growth has been really tremendous for that Patriots team. It ain't the sexiest thing in the world, but he's doing good things out there for the New England Patriots. I like what I've seen so far. That his teammates seem to be behind him. And, when you look at hindsight and people say, well, Cam should still be in the league. And I do think Cam should be in the league. But, Mac Jones is making Bill Belichick look extremely smart. So, I mean, you can say that one way or the other, and it's not Cam bashing. It's just Belichick knew what he had in Mac Jones, and so far Mac is slowly coming along, and I think he's going to be really good. I'm not saying he's Tom Brady. I say it every week. I'm not saying he's Tom Brady, but I like what I see. Next, the Colts, 4-5, big win against the Jets. This Colts team should be over 500. There's a couple games that they shouldn't have lost that they did lose. The Ravens one, I always bring that one up, but they shouldn't have lost that one. They probably shouldn't have lost to the Titans a couple of weeks ago. So this team could easily, this could be a little bit, role reverse. It could be like 6-3 right now. But unfortunately, that is not the case. But I like this Colts team, and they're a team that I still think is going to make a push towards the playoffs, especially in that wide open AFC. 18, the Falcons, a surprising 4-4 Falcons. Falcons somehow, some way keep themselves in the mix. I don't know how. It just at times it looks really ugly, and at sometimes it looks really good. And the biggest bright spot on that team for me has been Cordell Patterson, who's been the Swiss Army knife. He's been doing everything for that Falcons team. They're another team where it's like I couldn't tell you what they're going to do from week to week. They got Dallas this week. That could be a win. I'm going to say easily be a win. Let me rephrase that. It could be a win. It could be a loss. I wouldn't be surprised either way. Next, number 17, the Kansas City Chiefs. Get a big win against the Green Bay Packers. The Jordan Love Green Bay Packers. I got to specify that. Yeah, you probably say, oh, Darrell, you Packers fan. You just saying that. But no, man, I mean, watching that game, the Chiefs really didn't do anything impressive, in my opinion. They should have won that game, hands down, by at least 3, maybe 2 or 3 touchdowns. But the Packers defense was phenomenal. And unfortunately, Jordan Love is just not at that level yet where he can take a team to a victory. There's a couple of, he still had a chance to win that game for the Packers late. It just wasn't enough. It just wasn't enough. And it was too little too late when he finally got his first career touchdown pass thrown to Allen Lazard. But the Kansas City Chiefs are at 17, and they're trying to get back to their winning ways. They're 5-4 on the season. Next, we got the Denver Broncos. They're 5-4, big win over Dallas. Nice win over Dallas. They were 3-4. They won 2 in a row. So far this season, the Broncos have been win 3 in a row, lose 4 in a row, win 2 in a row. So this Broncos team surprising a lot of people last week against Dallas. I definitely picked Dallas in that contest. But, man, Teddy B and the crew and that defense, man, they really came up big time against a very tough Dallas team, which a lot of teams were calling the best team in the NFC. So nice win for the Denver Broncos. And once again, that's our outside looking in. Panthers 20, Colts 19, Falcons 18, Chiefs 17, and Broncos 16. All right, so that was our outside looking in. Now we finally hit the top 15 on the power rankings this week. We got a little bit of shifting here and there. I know the top 5 is a lot different than it was last week. So let's go ahead and jump into it. Number 15, the Cincinnati Bengals. Cincinnati did not show up at all against the Browns. They probably should be further down on this list, but we know what they can do, and we've seen what they did to a Ravens team that shocked everybody in Baltimore. So the talent is there, but they're still a young team trying to grow. We got Cincinnati at number 15. At number 14, the Cleveland Browns. Impressive victory over this Bengals team. I definitely picked the Bengals last week, as you can tell, as I tell you who I picked. The weeks have not gotten better. It's been the last couple of weeks have been really rough for me in the pick'em, man. I'm trying to get myself back together, but Cleveland hurt me on that one last week. But Cleveland 41-16, great overall game. They no longer have Odell Beckham on that team, and it showed in a form where you can just see these guys look loose and they were having fun. Donovan Peoples-Jones is going to be special, and I'm just going to throw that out there, Cleveland fans. Donovan Peoples-Jones is going to be super special. That's why you were able to let go of Odell Beckham and not have any worries. Number 13, the New England Patriots. I'm going to tell you right now, New England is slowly but surely creeping his way into the playoffs. Watch out for this New England team. I'm not saying they're going to make a ton of noise, but they're going to definitely be very competitive. And if they make the playoffs, they're not going to be an easy out. So if you're the 2 seed and the Patriots sneak in at a 7, or you're the 3 seed and the Patriots sneak in at a 6, you're going to have a fight on your hands. This New England team is tough. Once again, led by Bill Belichick, and Mac Jones is only going to get better. New England's at number 13 and rising. Number 12, the Las Vegas Raiders, 5-3. Very ugly loss to the Giants. I almost put the Panthers, the Patriots over them, but I just had to wait on that. I'm still learning this Patriots team, but Raiders at 12. They've been one of the teams that have been fluctuating into the top 10, out of the top 10, into the top 10. But right now they're at 12 this week at 5-3. And, this Raiders team, after that ugly loss to the Giants, have to find a way to get themselves back in the mix. See what they do on Sunday night against the Chiefs. That's going to be a big AFC West matchup. Number 11, the New Orleans Saints. The Saints had an opportunity last weekend to take the lead in the NFC South. It was in their hands, in the palm of their hands, ready for the taking. And then they laid a goose egg to an extent against the Atlanta Falcons. The Falcons dominated this game, to be honest with you. Then the Saints came back late, took the lead. It just wasn't enough because Matt Ryan hit Cordell Patterson along the sideline late in the game. Big pickup that eventually would set them up for a field goal, and they would end up winning that game 27-25. It was a great game. But, man, Saints fans, you were that close to taking the lead in that division, essentially a 2-game lead with them beating Tampa Bay a couple of weeks ago. So it was set up perfectly for them. But unfortunately, they are sitting in second place, and the Buccaneers are still in first. Number 10, the Los Angeles Chargers. This team started off hot. They were 4-1. Man, people were like, they were ready to rock and roll with them, including myself. I thought, man, this Chargers team is ready to make a name for themselves. And then they had like a little of a speed bump, and they lost 2 games in a row. And then they were able to bounce back last week and beat the Eagles, but they needed that victory because things were starting to look a little rough. But they're still in the mix in the AFC West. They are currently in second place. They're currently actually in first place in the division as Chargers, Raiders, Chiefs, then Broncos. So that's what that AFC West is looking like right now. But they are in first place. So give them love and credit where credit is due. Number 9, the Pittsburgh Steelers. Pittsburgh still on and off this year. It still can't really call what they got going on. But nevertheless, like what I'm seeing from rookies, Najee Harris and Pat, I'm not even going to destroy Pat's whole name. I know they was calling Frou. So Pat Frou-Frumoff. And I regret now I traded them on my fantasy team. That was actually a huge mistake. I am man enough to admit that now. Man enough. I knew what I had in them, and I did it anyway. Pittsburgh Steelers at number 9 on the power rankings. Number 8, the Buffalo Bills. Ugly loss. Man. Oh, boy, it was an ugly loss to Jacksonville. And there was a lot of Josh Allen on Josh Allen violence in that contest. Josh Allen, the defensive end for the Jacksonville Jaguars, had a field day against Josh Allen, quarterback for the Buffalo Bills. A sack, a fumble recovery, and an interception. All in one game against Josh Allen. So that Josh Allen on Josh Allen violence was a little tough last Sunday. Now, Buffalo Still in our top 10 because we know how talented they are, but that was a really rough game for them. If they have more games like that, they're going to be in trouble, and maybe not the team to beat in the AFC. Next at number 7, we have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Now, Tampa Bay's a little bit further down on the list, mostly because they were on a bye. We know how good this Tampa Bay team is. We know that. But this week, with the bye, they come into week 10 at number 7, but they're talented, almost crazy talented. They brought back Brashard Perriman, who had a really good year, his best year as a pro with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And now he's back on the team. We'll see what he can produce here in week 10. Number 6, the Los Angeles Rams, a team, 7-2, lost a tough one. I mean, just a really tough one to God, who did the Rams play last week? I'm having a whole brain fart, y'all. But the Rams lost a very tough one last week to the Titans on Sunday night, 28-16. And I'll be honest with you, only one person on our network picked the Titans, and that was Lamar Thomas, who hit the Lone Ranger pick and almost hit the Monday night one with the Bears, but hit the Lone Ranger pick 28-16. And this Titans team continuing the flow. The Rams took a little bit of a setback in this contest, but they're number 6 on our power rankings. Number 5 on our power rankings, the Dallas Cowboys, or as Jay and I like to call them, the Arlington Desperados. That's an inside joke. But anyway, Dallas, very tough game against this Denver Broncos team. Another game with nobody. That's how this last couple of weeks have been. Teams that you probably thought wouldn't have lost games are losing games that they probably shouldn't have lost to teams they shouldn't have lost to, if that makes any sense. But that's how that's kind of been. But Dallas, tough loss to the Denver Broncos. They moved to 7-2 on the season. And, Dallas is one of those teams where, they're a lot better than what we saw last week. So we'll see if they'll be able to continue and bounce back from last week's game. We got Dallas at number 5. Number 4, the Green Bay Packers. Now, I have Green Bay at number 4 on this list. They were number 1 last week, but that was a tough loss against Kansas City. We knew Aaron Rodgers wasn't there, but the problem was how great the defense played, and they still weren't able to get anything going offensively. The touchdown they did score was super late. The special teams had too many critical mistakes, two missed field goals, 1 blocked. Amari Rodgers had a muff punt. It was just a lot going on. And if you watch the game as a Packers fan, it was more frustrating knowing that Kansas City let you stay in the game and they gave you opportunities to win this game, but you just wouldn't take it. Just wouldn't take it. We got the Packers at number 4, and I will say this till I'm blue in the face of it. Aaron Rodgers had played in that game, the Packers will still be the number 1 team on this power rankings, and that's just my opinion. But they are not. They are number 4 on the power rankings heading into this week. Number 3, the Baltimore Ravens, their highest spot. This is the first time we've had an AFC team in the top 5 in a minute. The NFC has been kind of ruling the day the last 4 or 5 weeks. And then Baltimore says, guess what, man? I'm ready to crack the top 5. They're coming in number 3. Very tough overtime win against the Minnesota Vikings. The Baltimore Ravens, number 3 on the power rankings. Number 2, the Tennessee Titans, another AFC team cranking into the top 5. Tennessee's been very impressive lately. And all the Tennessee wins have been really impressive. I will say this. I mean, they've lost, 2 games, but I want to go back a little bit and just kind of give you an idea of some of the teams this Titans team has beat. So they lost to the Cardinals, but right now the Cardinals have only got 1 loss. All right. They beat the Seahawks with Russell Wilson. They beat the Colts. All right. Then they beat the Buffalo Bills. They beat the Kansas City Chiefs. Yes, they're struggling this year, but they're still the Kansas City Chiefs. They beat the Colts again. All right. And then they, beat a Rams team. So they beat the Rams, the Chiefs, the Colts twice, the Bills, and they've beaten the Seahawks. So I look at this and say, this Tennessee team, yes, that was when Derrick Henry was there, but they were able to win one without Derrick Henry. within the Rams game. But now the Titans have a chance to really solidify themselves as a powerhouse in the AFC here in the next couple of weeks. They've got the Saints. They should beat the Texans. It should be a good game against the Patriots. They eventually have the Steelers. And those are probably their 2 or 3 tough games that they have coming up for the rest of the season. So be on the lookout for the Tennessee Titans. But they are the number 2 team right now. I'm not 100% sure. I'd have to go back and look, but I do not think we've had an AFC team be number 1 on our power rankings this year. It's been NFC teams, and so far our only number 1 teams have been the Cardinals, the Rams, the Packers, and the Buccaneers have been our only number 1 teams in this power ranking so far. No AFC teams. Can Tennessee crack that? We'll see. And number 1, the Arizona Cardinals. 8-1. Nice bounce back week after losing to the Packers the week before last. Just love what I saw from Arizona, even without Kyler Murray and DeAndre Hopkins. They brought in, and then I'm going to forget, they didn't have Chase Edmonds neither, who got hurt early in that game. A lot of Josh Connor looking James Conner. I don't know, y'all. I'm having a fumble day. But James Conner was amazing in this contest. 3 touchdowns, 2 rushing, and 1 receiving touchdown, which was like a 50 or 60-yard run. And Colt McCoy looked really good out there. I almost look at him as another team and say, but we know better. But Colt looked good. He looked phenomenal in a backup role for this Cardinals team. So if you're the Cardinals, you got something to lean your shoulder on, knowing that if Kyler gets hurt in a bad spot, and if you can get Colt to play the way he played against San Francisco, you're going to be in good shape. The Arizona Cardinals are number 1 this week on the top 10, reclaiming their spot at number 1 here on the 101 Power Rankings. All right, y'all. So there it is. Those are our power rankings heading into week 10. We're going to give you our quick review, and then we'll give you our top 5 MVPs, MVP candidates heading into week 10. So let's start it off first, of course, again with the bottom. Coming at the bottom, the Lions 32, Texans 31, Dolphins 30, Jets 29, Washington football team 28, the Jacksonville Jaguars at 27, the Bears at 26, Eagles at 25, Giants at 24, 49ers at 23, Seahawks at 22, and Vikings at 21. The outside looking in, the Panthers sitting at number 20, the Colts 19, the Falcons 18, the Chiefs 17, the Broncos are 16. Then our top 15 teams, Cincinnati sitting at 15, the Cleveland Browns 14, the New England Patriots 13, the Las Vegas Raiders at 12, the Saints coming in at 11, the Chargers at 10, the Pittsburgh Steelers at 9, Buffalo Bills at 8, the Buccaneers at 7, the Rams at 6, the Cowboys at 5, the Packers dropping a couple spots to number 4, and jumping into the top 5, 2 AFC teams, the Baltimore Ravens at 3, the Tennessee Titans at 2, and number 1, the Arizona Cardinals. Man, oh man, oh man. I tell you, it's been interesting this last couple of weeks. I've not had a good run. Just really bad weeks for me overall. And so hopefully, we can bounce back this week and have a positive outlook, and hopefully get things kicked on the right foot tonight, Thursday night football with the Ravens. So go get that dub so I can start the week off in a positive light. All right, y'all. So here it is, our top 5 MVP mid-season. Now, y'all going to laugh at me when y'all see Aaron Rodgers like, Darrell, wait a minute. Aaron Rodgers didn't even play this week, but that's going to bring up my point. I have Aaron Rodgers number 1 because we saw what that Green Bay Packers team looked like without him offensively. And that alone, to me, this is just me being biased this week, alone to me makes him the number 1 person on the MVP count. Yes, the numbers have not been as great as they were last year, but man, when you take him off of that team, they are a completely different monster. Even Seattle, when they took Russell away, they still competed and looked like a pretty good team. One game without Aaron, it looks like a complete disaster. And we've seen this in the past. When they don't have Aaron Rodgers, the Packers are not a good football team. And I don't care how good the defense is, and Sunday proved it. That's what happened. So, yes, for this week, me just making a point, Aaron Rodgers is number 1. Number 2, Lamar Jackson. Another great comeback, another great, showing for Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens, which me and my son are going to go check out. Rodgers versus Jackson, week 15 or 16 and December 19th in Baltimore. So take my son to his first game. That's going to be fun. But I got Jackson at number 2. Number 3, Jonathan Taylor. Jonathan Taylor has had a really good year, low key. People know he's good, and he's the number 2 rusher in the league. I don't know how much longer that'll be before he's number 1, because Derrick Henry had a 300-yard rushing advantage over Jonathan Taylor. But Jonathan Taylor is special. And what I like how tough he is and what I've seen from him so far, don't be surprised if he continues to rise up on this MVP list. So Jonathan Taylor making his first appearance. Number 4, Kyler Murray. Wasn't there last week, but he's having such a special season that it was hard for me not to include him. Number 5, Dak Prescott. Once again, if Dak Prescott is the reason why the Dallas team ticks. And I'm going to keep him in right now for now. It was tough because I wanted to keep Josh Allen in, but his performance last week was so miserable, it was hard for me to do that. So that is our top 5 MVP candidates heading into week 10, the mid-season list here as we enter week 10. All right, everybody, I'm your man, Darrell Owens. Thank you all for tuning in for another additional one-on-one here on the Legacy Maker Sports Network, the Quick Ones edition, the NFL Power Rankings heading into week 10. I love you all. Take care of yourselves. Make sure you check out the Legacy Maker Sports Network. Go check out all our shows, everything. We're going to be all over the place here in the Central Virginia area in the next couple of months up until the end of college basketball season. VCU, Richmond, UVA, we'll hit up William and Mary. We're going to be all over trying to bring you some good coverage and bringing you a little bit of a different perspective and insight here on the Legacy Maker Sports Network into media in the Central Virginia area. All right, everybody. I'm your man. Thank you all for tuning in one more time. We'll see y'all next week on the 18th for week 11. Man, we are getting close. Man, it's crazy how close we're getting to the end of the season. I'm getting sad, y'all. Anyway, I'm your man, Darrell Owens. Until next time.
One. Welcome to the one-on-one. When it comes to ratings, man, we number one.